Hey fashion lovers, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Do I still need to do any form of introduction? Because at this point the pant is doing the talking. If you're tired of making pants that are not giving, then you need to watch this tutorial to the end. I'll be taking you through the step-by-step guide on how to draft, cut, and sew a female trouser, and I'll be sharing some pro tips too. Without further ado, let's get started. I'll be using 2 yards of crepe fabric for this tutorial, and on my paper here I have the measurements which I'll be using. Just in case you can't see it, I'm going to put it up there on the screen for you to see. For you to know how many inches you need to put your fabric on fold, divide your hip measurements by 4, add extra 3 inches to that. Whatever you get, multiply it by 2 because you'll be putting this on fold, okay? Then you're going to cut your fabric and put it on fold. Come down from the top of your fabric by 1 inch. This is going to serve as your waistline and connect it together with a straight line. So taking the measurement of what I have there on fold, you can see I have 15 inches and my fabric here is on fold. Next, you're going to mark your waist to your crotch depth, and to get your crotch depth, you're going to divide your hip measurement by 4. Make sure you add extra ½ inch for ease. Mine is 11 inches plus ½ inch. I'll mark this at 11.5 and connect with a straight line. From this point here, you're going to go up by 2.5 inch, and this is going to serve as your hip line. On the waistline here, you are going to mark quarter of your hip measurement. So just divide your hip measurement by 4 and add 1 inch for seam allowance. You are going to mark this on the waistline and on the crotch depth line and connect with a straight line. Next, you are going to mark your waist to your knee line. Mine is 23 inches. I'll mark that across and connect with a straight line. Then you mark your waist to the length of your trousers. Mine is 47 inches. Now make sure that you add extra 1.5 inch for folding allowance. So I'm going to mark this at 48.5 inch. So I'm just going to trim off whatever excess of fabric I won't be needing there at the length. On the crotch depth line, you're going to divide your round tie by 2, and whatever you get, you're going to mark it here. Mine is 14 inches. You can see as that is extending into the part where the crotch extension is meant to be. This always gives me the accurate measurement for the crotch extension. At this point, you're going to go up by 1 inch. You're going to connect this back into this point here and back into the hip line. On the waistline, you're going to mark quarter of your waist measurement, and then you're going to add 1 inch for seam allowance. At this point, I didn't know that my camera wasn't recording. But what I did here basically was to connect what I have on my waistline directly into the crotch depth. At the center front here, you go down by 1 inch, connect it back to your waistline. Also come in by ½ inch and connect it back into what you have on the crotch. Now this is going to help to reduce any form of bulge. Divide what you have here on the crotch depth by 2. Mine is 7 inches. Mark that on the knee line and connect back to this point. You continue marking that and connect it all with a straight line. Now this line is going to help you to distribute your measurements equally. On the knee line here, you're going to divide your round knee by 2. My round knee is 21 divided by 2. I have 10.5 inches. Now this 10.5 inches, I'm going to still divide it into 2 and mark it equally on both sides. So I have 5.25. I'm going to add ½ inch to both sides of this and connect it back to the crotch depth. Around this area here where it's kind of sharp, I'm just going to use my chalk and blend this like this. Measure what you have there on the hip line. You are going to take out 1 inch and you are going to divide that by 2 and mark it equally on both sides of the length and connect this together. And that is it, guys. We are done with the front pattern. I'm going to go ahead and cut this out so we can cut out the back. Now while you are cutting out the front, make sure that you cut it out following this initial waistline. When we are done cutting out the back, then we can cut it following the contour that we did. For the back, I already have my fabric here on fold. You are going to place the front piece on it like this. On the back, make sure you have an extra of 4 to 5 inch on fold, just like I have here around this crotch depth area. Also at this upper part, make sure you have an excess of about 2 inches at the upper part of your fabric. Go ahead and pin this down to secure it in place. Now you'll be extending these lines: the waistline, the hip line, the crotch depth line, the knee line, and also the length. At this center front here, you're going to go up by 1 inch at the back. If the person is bigger, you can use 1.5 inch. Take the measurement of what you have on the waistline of the front. Mine is 9 inches. And make sure you have the same thing from the side there to the 1 inch you went up by. You can see that I have the same thing there. Now also from this point here, you're going to mark 3.5 inches. If the person is bigger, you can use 4 or 4.5 inch. Don't worry, at the end of the day, we are going to take the waist measurement and we are going to trim off whatever excess we have left. Connect a straight line from that point back into the front crotch. For the crotch extension for the back, I'll be using 2.5 inch. If the person is bigger, you can do 3 inches. Using a slight curve, connect it back into this line like this. And you guys, that is it for the back crotch. On the knee line for the back, you mark 2 inches all the way to the length and you connect this with a straight line. And that's pretty much it for the back. Go ahead and cut this out like I'm doing here. Then we are going to cut out following the contour line we did for the front initially. Make sure you always notch the knee points of the front and the back. This is going to help you when you stitch it down, it comes out equal at the sides. If you would like side pockets on your pant, this is the point where you go ahead and do that. And if you don't know how to do that, I have a detailed tutorial on my channel on how to attach side pockets to your pants. I'll be leaving the link in the description box, okay? So if you're not doing that, let's proceed. We'll be joining the front and the back together at the sides. So this is my back here. I'm going to get the front and place it right side to the back. You're going to pin this down, starting with the waistline. Then this point here that you notched at the knee line, make sure it's together like this. Also pin it down at the length and you pin down whatever you have in between. This will always help your seams to be the same at the sides. Then you're going to stitch this down using 1 inch seam allowance. After stitching it down, you can see what I have here. At this point, you're going to determine where you want your zipper to be. Do you want to use a zipper fly, a side zipper, back zipper? It totally depends on you. For me, I'll be using a zipper fly because I want my zipper to be in front. So if you want to know how to do this, I already have a detailed tutorial on my channel on how to go about this. I'm going to be leaving the link in my description box so you can check that out. But if you're not using a zipper fly, you're just going to close up the front crotch using 1/2 inch seam allowance. After inserting the zipper fly, you can see how beautiful this came out. If this is what you want, like I said, I have the link in my description box, so just check that out. The next thing we're going to do here is to close the back crotch, and to do it, you're just going to fold your fabric like this. Make sure that the side seams are together, pin it down. and also pin down this front side of the waist area. You're going to divide your waist measurement by 2. Mine is 15.5 and I'm going to mark it on the waistline. You can see the excess I have left there. You connect this back into what you have there on your crotch curve. So coming here, I'm going to first of all pin this down. And I'm going to mark 1/2 inch all the way to this point, and I'll connect it all together like this. After stitching it down, I'm gone ahead to trim off whatever excess I had there, and also I've closed up the inner part of my pant. All you need to do is just to place the front and the back crotch together, pin it down and stitch it down using 1/2 inch seam allowance. Now the next thing we are going to do is to insert our bands. And to insert the band, I already have the band here. I make sure you take the measurement of what you have around your waist. Add extra 3 inches to that so you don't run short on fabric. I have my band here on fold 2 inches, and on this other side, on one side of the band, make sure you iron 1/2 inch upward like this. Now to attach the band, if you are using a zipper fly, make sure that around this zipper fly area you leave about 1.5 inch. This side that you didn't fold, you're going to place it on the right side like this, pin it down all around. Now after stitching it down, you can see what I have, okay? And when I got to the end here, I closed it up with a stitch, and if you turn it, this is what you will have. Also on this side, I left 1.5 inch and I stitched it down, and this is what you will have when you turn it to the right side. Now to close the band, all you need to do is to turn this inward and give it a good press. I usually like to use hemming gum to do this so that it stays in place. What you're just going to do here is to use the stitching the ditch method on the band to stitch it down all around to secure the band in place. After doing this, you can see how beautiful this came out. Now all I need to do is to create a buttonhole on this upper part and to fix my buttons at the lower part. And that is it for this tutorial. I've also gone ahead to hem the bottom part of my pants. And you guys, we have come to the end of this tutorial. I really hope this tutorial was helpful. When you try this out, you can share your results on the community tab so we can see how good you did. Make sure you like this tutorial, share this to family and friends who you know will be interested in tutorials like this. I'll be seeing you guys in my next one. Stay tuned.